You don't need a mic, Cindy.
I know. That too. All right, welcome. I'm glad we have an audience of ringers tonight to avoid me having to talk to an empty room. Appreciate it, staff. All right, here we go. Hi, welcome to the Tuesday night. We are June 18th, regular meeting of the Stillwater Planning Commission. Now in session. It took away my gavel.
I'm sorry.
No, it's probably a good thing. All right. We will commence with our business. I am going to skip the explanation of how to speak, given that there's no one here to speak at the moment. All right. So the meeting being called to order, we will start with the public hearings. The first item for business is a land use item up for discussion and possible action. It is SC Retail Management, LLC, map amendment, MA 19-02, requesting review and approval to rezone property addressed as 1011 North Boomer Road from Commercial General, CG, to Residential 2-family and multifamily, RTM District, being presented by our new and glorious Ryan Harkins. Mr. Harkins.
Chairman, members of the Planning Commission, thank you. This is a map amendment to rezone property on North Boomer Road. Yep, I'll turn this.
Thank you, sir.
So for those of you that may not be familiar with the exact location, this is the rear of the Slim Chickens property. There is a minor subdivision request going in concert with this map amendment request as well. It's a rezoning request to go from CG General Commercial to RTM 2-family and multifamily residential. You can see here on the map, the area shaded in black is the subject property. We have RSS zoning on the east, CG to the south and west, and then public zoning, which is Stillwater High School, to the north side of the property. You can see some of the easements that run through, as well as utility lines currently along the property. It is bounded by Husband Street on the east side, so this would have access to Husband Street if this were approved. This is the subject property from the street. This is along Husband Street at the southeast corner of the property, looking toward the high school. This would be that northeast corner, looking back. This would be the west-southwest corner, looking across. You can see where that dip is. That's part of a drainage easement on the property that we note. And then this is the east side as well, west side looking east. What you see is the trash enclosure for Slim Chickens restaurant. So the map amendment is being requested to allow for development of 2 to 4 two-story duplexes. Right now, like I said, it's zoned CG General Commercial. It's part of, again, a minor subdivision application that's being reviewed. The applicant has not furnished a site plan. They're waiting to see what happens with the rezoning request. Property is adjacent to, as we mentioned, RSS, public and CG zoning districts. We mentioned the drainage easement as well. That easement we mention again because it could make access onto the site potentially difficult depending upon the layout. With that, I'd stop and take any questions you might have.
I don't have any.
No questions.
No questions?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ryan. We'll now open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, against, or neutrally for the item, just come on down. All right, seeing none, do we have any
Close the public hearing.
No, I know. Yes. Let's see. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask for staff's alternatives.
So at this time, the alternatives available are to accept the findings and recommend approval as presented, to accept the findings and recommend approval with any conditions you might want to stipulate. The other alternatives are to find the request not appropriate and recommend denial, or you may table to a certain date later.
Thank you. So, any questions or thoughts or discussion?
I move to accept findings, recommend the city council approve the proposed map amendment as presented.
I second that.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. We will now vote.
We have 4 in favor and 1 no. Mr. Rickman voted no.
All right, the motion carries. Thank you. The next item for business is Camilla Corporation, specific use permit SUP 19-15, requesting review and approval of a specific use permit to establish a medical marijuana dispensary at the property addressed as 1124 East 6th Avenue, Commercial General CG District. Mr. Harkins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ryan Harkins, Development Services. Item 2B is a specific use permit for 1124 East 6th. It's a request for review and approval of a SUP to allow for a medical marijuana dispensary at the property. The area is zoned CG General Commercial. The black hatched area is the subject property. It is across from a cemetery. At the present time, it has residential to the north across from an alley. Per typical state statutes and policy, letters were mailed out to property owners within 300 feet. Notice was also provided to Stillwater News Press. This is the site plan. The applicant is looking at occupying the part of the building shaded with a hash pattern on the west side of the property. This is the front of the building from the south side of 6th Street. They are looking at occupying essentially, again, that west part of the building. It's a little bit easier to see that part from this side in spite of the vehicles. They do have adequate parking. The findings that staff have developed at this time include the fact that Oklahoma state law allows for medical marijuana facilities. The Land Development Code allows the use of a medical marijuana dispensary in the CG zoning district with a specific use permit. Existing parking in the area can accommodate the use. There's also shared parking on site, which is allowed in the zoning district. We believe signage at this point is proposed probably for the storefront window, most likely a wall sign. They have not fully decided that yet. The applicant has been issued a state license to operate a dispensary. With that, I'd stand for any questions you might have.
Any questions? All right, thank you. Why don't you just hang out there for a
I
sec?
will do that.
All right, I will now open the public hearing and call for anyone wishing to speak on behalf of the case. So this is in favor.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Stephen Gose with Gose and Associates, 113 East 8th. Here on behalf of the applicant, just to answer any questions you all might have.
Thank you, Stephen. Do we have any questions?
No questions.
Stephen, just what is that existing tenant on the other half of the building?
It's a smoke shop.
Okay, that's what I thought it was, but I wanted to make sure I recalled correctly. All right. Anyone else, any other questions? Anyone else wishing to speak, either in favor or neutrally or against the proposed project? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and call for staff's alternatives.
So at the present time, the alternatives available to you as the commission are to accept the findings as presented and recommend approval as such. You can also find the request is not appropriate and recommend denial, or you may table this item to a certain date later.
Thank you. Any remaining questions or discussion?
I move to accept findings, recommend the city council approve the proposed specific use permit as presented.
Second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. We'll now vote. And the motion carries 5-0. Thank you. All right, that concludes the hearing items for business on our agenda. Item number 3 is our miscellaneous items from staff. Do we have any miscellaneous items from your end? I would mention that if anyone is watching at home and is of interest, please keep an eye on the city's website if you're interested in seeing what's being proposed for form-based codes. That's coming up this summer, and the staff is diligently working away on it. And other than that, that's probably about all we have going on right now. Is there anything else? Nothing? All right. So, seeing that, the next item for business is do we not have minutes? We do not have minutes at this moment. So, that being said,
Move to adjourn.
Second.
hang on. Hang on a second. We have a motion on the floor. Would anyone be willing to, do we need to have the date? Does it matter? We have a motion and it was seconded, and we will now vote to adjourn. And the motion carries, so we will see you back here on July 9th. Please note that it's July 9th, not the week of 4th of July, which I think it is the 2nd. We will be meeting on the 9th because of the holiday. Thank you, everyone.